Hello, today I'm going to be building a nursing home in Oasis Springs on the lot that the land grabs used to live on. So I bulldozed their house and deleted them in this process. So I feel like this is kind of the first step to really making this my own save file, because as we all know, the land grabs are a very key towny family, and now they no longer exist in my game. So yeah, okay. I have 5 kind of main points I want to talk about in this video. I feel like I'm setting this up I don't know, like a meeting or a presentation, but anyways, first thing I have to say is my main channel is going to be linked in the description of this video, so if you're interested in my day-to-day life, go check that out. I post on there twice a week, every Tuesday and Saturday. Also, if my voice sounds a little weird, I literally just woke up and I'm recording this. Okay, my second point, I know in my last video I said that this one's probably going to be a gameplay video, depending on, the quality of the audio and everything. The audio actually wasn't the problem. What I meant by gameplay video, I don't know if I actually said, but I just did the whole, Blast from the Past quest, and I just didn't feel like that was at all, I don't know, relevant. It was fun for me to do, I enjoyed doing it, but in terms of, my save file, it didn't actually bring anything to the save, if that makes sense. Third thing I want to say is that, when I made this nursing home, I wasn't really in the mood to build, so if, I don't know, pretty much I filmed this over the course of a few hours, and, I kept taking breaks, is what I'm saying, so, I don't know, it kind of cuts a lot, but that's why. It's just because I didn't record this all in one sitting. Yeah, okay, so I decided to make a nursing home because when I think about, the elderly Sims that I'm making right now, they're not really relevant to, the main storyline. It's just, people's grandparents or people's parents, and not to be kind of mean, but I didn't need a lot of them taking up house space, if that makes sense. I don't want to make a million houses for just, elderly people, if that makes sense. So I decided to kind of make a nursing home type beat to put some of them in, so that they're just, not taking up house space. Okay, now onto the actual build here. I kind of base this a lot off of my grandma's nursing home, which is in Arizona, which is why I picked Oasis Springs to do this one. So, yeah. I will say now, just to preface, that I hate this build. It's awful. But I did a very good job at it. I just really don't like the style of nursing homes. They kind of give hospital, there's not a lot of personality. Obviously when I move elderly people and stuff in here, I will decorate their little apartments and everything to better fit them, put some of their things in, whatever, but just kind of as a base, I don't like this at all. But it is very realistic. I did a very good job with this build. I just don't like it, if that makes sense. Yeah, so my grandma's place has kind of 3 levels. There's independent living, which is just pretty much a little apartment complex for elderly people. And then you go to assisted living, where you have nurses and whoever that kind of are in your area, but you still get a little apartment and all that. And then you go into continuing care, which is where you pretty much just get a room. So what I decided to do in this game was independent living and assisted living. I didn't do continuing care, and a big reason for that is because this is actually fully non-functional. A lot of this is just using my imagination, because The Sims doesn't really have a nursing home option here. So for me to make continuing care wouldn't make that much sense, because the nurse people are never actually going to be checking on them, let alone every couple hours, you know? Okay, so what I'm building back here is going to be the apartment for the fake people that work here. So I'm planning on there just being 3 of them, and I don't have any Sims that I'm intending on moving in here right now. In my head, it's gonna be like college age Sims, so like young adults, maybe adults, I'm not fully sure, and they're just gonna live here. And again, since this is non-functional, they're not gonna get paid, so they're gonna have to have some other job. And the only thing I can do, really, to pretend that it's functional is have them, like, get to know the old people, but they're not gonna actually, like, be able to help them or take care of them in any way, which is fine. Maybe at some point in the future there will be an update that better suits this. I could have probably finagled something with, like, businesses and hobbies, but I just didn't feel like doing that, so I made this a, like, residential rental, and I made 3 apartments, technically, like 3 units, because the max you can have is 6, so with the amount of, like, rooms that I had total, that would be, like, I think 15? I'm not fully sure, but in any case, it goes over the limit, and so, what I did is I made this apartment for my fake workers a unit. I made the whole independent living section, which I put upstairs, a unit, and then I also made the whole assisted living section a unit. And the way I'm going to deal with that with actual Sims in there, because there are obviously multiple kind of apartments in each of those areas, is just, like, have them lock the doors, you know, so, like, it's all just one unit, and they'll technically all be in one household, but the door situation, you know what I'm saying. And yeah, so I really don't know when it comes to gameplay how well this is gonna work out for me, but, like, I just needed a place for them to go, and so even if it's not fully functional, like, it's alright with me. Yeah, so I also don't have any Sims I want to move in here yet. Actually, my only elderly people are Valentina and Enzo Russo, which you saw in my last video when I moved them out to Oasis Springs, and, like, they aren't gonna be moving in here, at least not until, like, I'm planning on having them, like, die, which is not gonna be for a while, and even then I don't know if I'm gonna move them in here because they live right next to their kid, and their other kid lives at home, so I don't think it's necessary for them to be in here. Also, a big reason I'm not putting them in here is just because, like, their house is very important, you know, but, like, some of these other people that will be moved in here eventually when I make them, I guess, their houses might not be super important. Yeah, so right now I'm building kind of a lobby so that, like, if any of the elderly people have any questions or anything, they can come in here and talk to people, and then the fake workers, their office space is right next to it over that half wall, and then the actual apartment. So, yeah, I was thinking about having it just be, like, Sims in university, because they can just, like, in my head, obviously, because they're not really getting paid to live here, but in my head it's like they could live here and get paid because they're helping the elderly people, and also it could potentially, why'd I say that? Potentially help them with, like, a degree. So, like, obviously The Sims has very limited degrees, but if someone in real life, like, I'm kind of thinking about this from, like, a real life perspective. If someone in real life were to get, like, a nursing degree, they could live at, like, a nursing home and help take care of elderly people while they're in school, and it could, I don't know, give them credits towards their degree or whatever. Like, does that make sense? I think so. So even though this isn't at all functional in The Sims, that's kind of, like, my thought process. That's a big problem for me, is that a lot of the stuff that I want to make and do is not actually functional in the game, or doesn't make that much sense in the game, but it makes sense in my head, and it would make sense in real life. So I'm gonna do it, even though I know this save doesn't have to be, like, fully realistic. I don't know. you know what I'm saying. I thought this was a nice idea. Anyways, so this big space here is gonna be kind of like the lobby space. Once again, I'm probably gonna say this for the millionth time, I'm basing this off of my grandma's nursing home. So then I'm making the mail room, except I decided it was like way too big, because then I counted like how many people are gonna be living here, and it's just not this many, and it was just kind of empty because, you know, you have these mailboxes on the wall and whatever, so I fiddled around with it and made it a lot smaller. Actually, while I was doing this, I was listening to this is so insane, the Nicolas Cage Colbert Questionnaire. So, like, every time I think about that mailroom, I think about Nicolas Cage. I don't know why. But, you know, he's cool. And then here, I decided, I don't know why I said that. Like, he's cool, like, okay. I decided to make, like, kind of a public bathroom, so, like, if people's families are here, or if they're hanging out in the lobby, then they can use the bathroom rather than go back to their little apartments. Now this, I decided to kind of make, like, a common room, common space, so we have seating. I did put TVs on the wall, and then these bookshelves, as well as some computers. I don't remember when I did everything, because I kind of went through and did some different stuff and rearranged some things. But, you know, that's that. One thing I'm gonna complain about, again, I'm pretty sure I've complained about it before, is the fact that I just desperately need cross-compatibility between packs, because it's just so frustrating to me, because I wanted to make, like, a little kind of restaurant space for these people to get food, but you can't really do that with this, like, residential rental lot type. So, like, yeah, here I wanted it to kind of be a little restaurant space, but I didn't want to just put a kitchen, because I don't want them making their own food, you know, I wanted someone to serve food to them. So instead I went with vending machines, and, you know, in real life, I don't really want elderly people just only eating vending machine food. But that's what it's gonna have to be in here. But this is kind of the space I came up with, for the downstairs. And then, once again, because this isn't functional at all, I just made a fake, like, kind of check-in desk, because obviously people's family members and stuff are gonna have to check in. They can't just, like, walk in and just be in here, you know? But again, fully non-functional, so there's probably gonna be some people randomly just using these computers, but that's fine. Yeah, what else do I have to say? Oh, let's talk windows. Oh my gosh. So, my first ever build that I have, like, ever built, okay, took me 8 hours. I've talked about it before, and it's 2 houses in, Brindleton Bay. And so, because I spent 8 hours on it, the windows all turned out nice, and it's great and awesome. For some reason, well, first of all, when I film, I don't spend as much time as I would really want to on these builds, because, again, it would take me something like 8 hours, and already my filming comes out to, like, 4 hours each build. So, like, I don't know, I'm not super great at building, not super fast, and I'm very detail-oriented, so I will say that a lot of the time after I film a video, I kind of go back and change some things and add things that I forgot, because I tend to forget things if I'm not spending 82 years on them. Really quickly, in the lobby, I just put kind of some games and stuff, and now I'm decorating the outside, and I moved the chess tables into the common area, because to me it's more of, like, a quiet space than the lobby, but now I'm just working on, like, a nice kind of, not patio, but, like, little backyard. And at some point in here, I didn't realize, but, like, my screen recorder had stopped recording. So there's gonna be a jump where everything's done, and then I just go show you what I've done. So, yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So, I don't know why every time I sit down to record a video, I legitimately always forget to put windows on my builds, and I decide to do them last. And so then, if you've noticed throughout a number of my builds so far, which is not many, my windows have come out looking really whack because I put them on at the last second and then not only have to fit the layout of the building, but also have to fit the furnishings in there, because, like, I'm not gonna put a window behind a TV, for example. So, like, I might have put a window there if I hadn't already furnished the inside. So that's something I need to work on, and you will see when I show you the final product of this building that, once again, I have whack windows. But I went back to some of my old builds, like the little houses in Newcrest and all of the stuff that I built in my last video, and I called my mom and we sorted some of my window issues out. I'm not gonna, like, go and show you them because it's not that serious, but I don't know, it's just something that I've been working on, and at some point off camera I'm gonna go and redo the windows on this building somewhat. So the cut is happening now. So these are kind of like the finished little yard spaces. And then do I start on windows? Yeah, see, now I decided to start doing windows, and some of them turned out pretty whack. Well, I did the windows on the bottom floor, and I don't know. I hate windows. I really like how all of the windows turned out on the inside, but then from the outside it kind of sucks. But you know what, actually, I went and took a walk with the intention of looking at the windows, which is kind of weird, but I realized on my walk, I had an epiphany, because I'm looking at all these buildings. I was looking at houses, office buildings, other stuff, and their windows don't make any sense either, and are not symmetrical on the outside. I think that's another problem, is, like, yeah, sometimes some of my windows are just straight up whack in this game, but windows are also whack in real life, and I don't need all of my windows to be perfectly symmetrical. You know, I feel like that's something I really struggle with, is I want everything to look fully intentional and neat and whatever, and I feel like if I saw a building in real life with whack windows, and I'm, like, paying attention to the windows, then I'd be like, man, that building's got some whack windows. But, like, you know, when you're walking around, you don't often think, man, that building has whack windows. But I feel like also because here I'm actually building the windows, then I'm very, I don't want to say self-conscious, but I'm very conscious of the way the windows are turning out because I'm building them, and so then I'm like, man, these are whack. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, I feel like I'm not even, like, making sense. But down here, I'm kind of making the little continuing care apartments, which are smaller than the independent living apartments, and when I move my fake workers in here, I'm gonna need them to, like, know the people over here, because, as I said, this is kind of a separate, like, unit, quote-unquote, so the fake worker people will not be able to get in here unless they know the people in here, you know? Yeah, so pretty much in these ones, I just gave them a bedroom and a bathroom, but with the independent living, which you will see after I do all this, I gave them a bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, dining, and living room. It's all very small. Like, it's not like a full-size, like, proper apartment. Some of them are kind of cramped, but, like, it's all there, you know? And, yeah, so how many do I end up down? Whoa, I don't know how to speak. How many do I end up with down here? I think 6? It's, like, going so fast, I can't even tell what's happening. But I think 6, and I think I ended up with 5. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have 6 down here and 5 up here. So, since, what the frick? Oh, since this is all one unit, I can only have 8 Sims per apartment, and I know I can use, like, MC Command Center and other stuff to, like, allow more Sims to live on a lot, but I don't want to do that because then, like, if you go into CAS, then it just deletes whoever's over 8 Sims, and, like, I don't want to deal with that. I want to be able to edit as I please. So I do know that that is an option. I'm just not going to do that. But yeah, so since there are 6 rooms and 8 possible Sims, that means that I pretty much, if I'm filling up, like, all 6 rooms, that means that, it's only possible for me to have 2 couples. Obviously, if I'm not filling up all 6 rooms, like, I could have 4 couples that are my 8 Sims that take up 4 rooms, you know? But I also think it's much more likely that in continuing care there are going to be less couples because unfortunately some parts of the couples are going to die at some point. Oh, yeah, here I did put a little living room because, like, it's not really a living room. It's a couch, a table, and a TV. Like, it's not all that, but I just felt like they deserved a TV, you know? And I had the room. I felt like it was kind of empty, which is, like, the bed. So I gave them a TV. Yeah. So if you're sitting here and thinking that this build is super ugly, I fully agree with you. Like, again, I hate this, but I did a great job. Now, to be fair, I don't know what every nursing home is like. I didn't do, like, research of, like, nursing homes and nursing homes here and whatever. This is literally just based off my grandma's nursing home. So if you're looking at this and you're like, this does not give nursing home, the nursing homes I visit are so much better than this, that's fine, but this is my, like, personal nursing home experience, and it sucks, and I hate it, and I never want to live in a nursing home. But, yeah. So then I went through and did all of the curtains. At some point, they all got deleted, and I remember when I was playing, I figured out why, but I don't remember now. So, yeah. Okay, so this is gonna be the independent living section. When I go and make, like, the different apartments and whatever, like, the different units, you will see that I just made the stairwell, connect up here. Like, so that, like, the fake worker people can't come upstairs, nobody else can come upstairs except for, you know, the people that live here, and obviously the people visiting them, and then everything else is, like, shared space, which is great. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I have that much to say here, because I have an idea for a couple, or possibly one, because I haven't made them yet, and I haven't fully decided, like, lore and all that. I have an idea for 2 Sims that could move in here. I haven't made them at all, and I was about to tell you, like, who they're related to, and then I realized you also don't know who those people are at this point. But they are the Sim family that I moved into the house in Brindleton Bay. Anyways. Yeah. If anyone's interested, in a few months, I think, once I have, like, more, because right now I don't have that much, I could do a whole video showing you all of my notes on my save file, because, well, I have a lot, to be fair, but I've been working on stuff like, relationship trees and charts between different Sims, and so far I only have families, and I only have 3 families where I have, like, all of the family members, not including, like, cousins and stuff, but I'm talking, like, main families. So one of my main families, the Scott family, who I've mentioned multiple times in this series, but I haven't, like, actually showed you them or anything, their family has, wow, I was just about to say 12 members in it. So there's Devin Scott and her parents, which is 3, Aubrey Scott and his parents, which is 6, Aubrey Scott's siblings, who are another 3, which is 9, and then Devin and Aubrey's 3 kids, which is 12. So it's like, this isn't even including possible cousins, or when Aubrey's siblings are older and start having their own kids, and all this stuff, like, or possibly their parents' siblings, like, I don't know, Aubrey Scott's parents, if they have siblings, which I haven't even thought about. And so I made this relationship chart, and it's huge. So, like, anyways, very long point, just to say that I have 3 relationship charts for 3 of my families, one of which actually isn't finished, but 2 of them are fully finished. Like, I made one for the Russo family and all that. So, like, I don't have that much going on, and then because I've just pretty much been solely working on families, and I have to go back and, like, figure out who's gonna be friends with who. Like, I know that Catherine Scott of the Scott family is best friends with Theodore Russo, but, like, they are gonna have other friends, you know? So it's like, I want to make charts for different friend groups. So, oh my god, again, I keep over-explaining my point, but my point is just that, like, if anyone's interested, I would totally be happy to do a video on kind of like, showing you all of my notes, and then therefore, like, the thought processes behind The Sims, and pretty much my whole, you know, creative process for it. And I might just do it anyways, no matter if people want it or not, but if I do, it's gonna be in, like, a month or so, maybe longer, because I pretty much, I just want to have more to show you. Like, right now it's a lot of, once I get to this point, this is what I will do. So, like, obviously once I start making friend groups, I'm going to make a friend group relationship chart for these Sims. Or, because I want to make a soccer club for some of these kids. And so it's like, okay, once I make the soccer club, I can do a relationship chart between everyone in the club. But I'm not doing that right now. So again, it's all, like, kind of conceptual and hasn't really been done out yet. So once I do it, then I can make a video talking about my thought process. I just felt like that was such a long explanation just to say at some point I will show you my notes on the save file. I could have just said that. But in the meantime, I completely furnished everything upstairs. Oh, and I did remember through watching this why all of my curtains that I did downstairs disappeared, and it's because I changed the wall height and then just changed it back. Like, I didn't undo, I made it short and then changed it back to medium, so it deleted all of my curtains. Then I put all of the windows and curtains upstairs. Thank you. And yeah, don't worry about the windows right now. That's the thing, they all look good on the inside and not great from the outside. But then again, with this building, I don't know if I'm gonna really care about going back and changing the windows, because, like, this isn't somebody's house, you know? This is supposed to be a giant building. It's kind of very ugly on the inside, and I'm only really gonna be visiting, like, people's rooms. Like, it's not a house situation, so I don't know if I care that much that the windows are whack. But here I'm, like, assigning the apartments, and I was, like, a little confused on how I wanted to do it. I knew that I wanted this part to be separate, but then I didn't know what to do with the bottom, because at first I was thinking that I could have all the workers and the elderly people all in one apartment unit, but then that doesn't make much sense. Well, but then I would have, like, too many rooms per household Sims, because then I'd have 9 rooms for only 8 Sims, so I decided to make it a separate apartment and deal with that. And then I wanted to put a sign up here, and I was, like, really struggling with it for no reason, but then I found one that I like. Yeah, and so this is, like, the finished nursing home. I sat here for a really long time to film this outro, but yeah, as of right now, I don't have any Sims that I want to move in here, and I think when I move Sims in, I'm not gonna do, like, a furnishing video, because it's not that serious, but when I do, like, lore and stuff, I'll let you know who moves in here. But yeah, so another speed build, whatever, leave me alone. I will see you next week. Bye.